Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hairy Muppet. Welcome back to the Hairy Bash. We're going to be getting into the second semi-final. It is going to be a ZvZ. It is going to be Mr. Petraeus down the bottom left side of the map. He is from New Zealand, plays for Root Gaming. And yes, his opponent up the top right side of the map, Mr. KingkOng from South Korea, plays for Team Exile 5. And yes, both of these players extremely awesome. Let me just double check, because, yeah, where's my bloody thingy-bob going on there? I just want to double check one of those details about Mr. KingkOng, because I got it written down here, and I assume that means it's correct, but I never can be too sure. Yes, KingkOng is from South Korea. I don't know why I thought he wasn't, but he's just in so many, bloody Australian tournaments and all over that sort of stuff. So yes, very, very good stuff. Alright, so let's have a look here. We got some extremely fast play going on from both players. We've got Mr. Petraeus they're both going for 10 pulls pretty much. And we do have a Bailey Nest coming out for Mr. KingkOng, who is moving across the map. Petraeus is going to be sending out his own lings, and they've both got exactly the same amount of lings, so I don't know why they're running, but yeah, it's whoever's got a little bit of an advantage is probably on the upside, but a couple more lings running out, and Petraeus is going to get the hell out of there. The Bailing Nest is up for Mr. KingkOng. Petraeus has gone for an expansion rather than trying to go for anything to sort of counter this. Nobody's going for ling speed at the moment, but it looks like KingkOng is maybe thinking about it, or thinking about just doing Banelings, but I wouldn't be surprised to see ling speed coming out for him, because ling speed early on in the game is going to be extremely awesome. No, just looks like there's a couple of Banelings going to be coming in, so we need to see a lot more queens coming out, and so far we only have one queen for Mr. Petraeus. So yeah, definitely needs to get those queens coming up. Those Bailey Nest is incredibly early. And here come the Bailings, and there is no attack in these guys. Maybe he's going to try and single attack them, but with the Ling pack right next to it, it's very, very hard to do that. Needs some queens, needs some spine crawlers. He's got the queen down here. Is he going to be able to take out the Bailings in time? I'm not too sure. The queen is, oh man, is he going to be attacking the Bailings? The Bailings running for it. They take a couple of hits, but it's mainly the Lings attacking. The queen right there. The queen does go down. The Bailings running on in. And this Bailing might be taken out. No, just manages to survive. Needs to send one or two more lings over there, but the lings keep getting taken out by the rest of the lings. And there we go, the Bailing rolling on in, trying to go for some workers, not quite finding any. The queen is going to get taken out, and there are two more Bailings. The spine crawler getting out there, but it's being surrounded by lings already, and Petraeus in very, very bad shape already in game number 1. There we go, the workers taking some decent hits, but there are lings coming back up. He does have 2 bases, and the second base is not going to go down anytime soon, but he is so low on minerals at the moment. His income has completely gone down the toilet. Where is his income? It's only at 7. KingkOng is only at 10, but he's continuing to build lings and send them out across the map, so yes. Still in a very, very bad position, and he did lose that spine crawler, so another spine crawler would not be a bad idea, but he desperately, desperately needs some more workers at this point, because there we go, there's ling speed is out for KingkOng, and once he sees ling speed, he's just like, GG man, this is not going to happen. Good game, Mr. KingkOng. And KingkOng taking out the first game with that extremely early Bailing Nest, rolling on to ling speed, and just pressure off one base. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, because it is Hairy Bash number 5, and Petraeus has competed in 3 Hairy Bashes before this, and has won all 3 of them. So number 4, he wasn't in, which is why he didn't win, but this one will be interesting if this is the first one that he competes in but doesn't win, and KingkOng definitely definitely good enough to take him out. So let's move on to game number 2 and see if Petraeus can fight his way back after that bad start to this series. Let's see how it goes for him. Alrighty, getting straight back into it. It is game number 2, and we've already seen KingkOng come out with guns blazing in game number 1 with a super early Bailing Nest. did a fantastic job at putting Petraeus on the back foot and then knocking him out with just more pressure. So Petraeus taking an early loss in this series, and KingkOng currently 1-0. Only one more game needed for KingkOng to win this series. Petraeus needs to get those 2 games, and it looks like he has gone for an early spawning pool. Well, not early, but he's gone for a pool first into hatch, whereas KingkOng went the other way, hatch into pool. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference in this game. Just a bit of an earlier queen for Petraeus, which is nice, and it's a more defensive play. So if KingkOng decides to go for something crazy, then he will be able to counter it. But this is a much larger map than the previous one, so it's going to take a lot more time for Bailings to roll across the map and Lings to roll across the map and all that sort of stuff. But we do have Ling speed covered out for both players already, so nothing super crazy, nothing super out of the ordinary for either of these players. They're just going for pretty standard stuff, and pretty standard stuff does indeed include Ling speed, because it is such an awesome play at the start of the game for either Zerg player. So yeah, KingkOng is getting a Bailing Nest though. He is going for it, obviously later than last game, but it's still extremely early for a Bailing Nest, and we can see that Petraeus has got one as well. So both players going for a bit more standard ZvZ sort of pressure, and it's going to be all sorts of fun in the next 5 minutes with Lings and Bailings all over the place. Maybe a couple of spine crawlers, definitely a lot of queens for either side to sort of micro down the Bailings as they come in. And oh man, I don't know what he was playing with these guys, but if you manage to hide them in this corner or something like that, converted to Bailings later on, that would be awesome. But they are going to get taken out. Ling speed just about to finish for KingkOng. Petraeus is going to take a little bit longer. And yes, Bailings coming up for both players. So, getting into the good stuff. Looks like KingkOng wants to be on the aggression once again. He's going to show up just as Petraeus gets Ling speed. And there's some Bailing moving straight out, ready to go for the pack. And gonna try and do something here. The Bailings going nuts against each other. Petraeus looking a little bit low on Lings at the moment. KingkOng is 28, Petraeus has 2. So yeah, he's not in a good position, but Petraeus does have a fairly decent amount of Bailings, so the Lings of KingkOng do have to be very, very careful that they don't just get blown up by all those Bailings. He's trying to send his own Bailings in to kill the opposing Bailings. He knows he's got enough Lings to just completely annihilate things as long as he gets rid of the enemy Bailings. So yes, but the Lings just continuously running away. Bunch of Lings getting in here, but the Queens are mostly just taking them out. I don't think anything got in here, but maybe it did. And for once, yeah, KingkOng is backing off there. Worker loss. Petraeus did lose 3, and a whole bunch of other miscellaneous units going down, including a queen. So he managed to lose a queen at some point, but that's fine. I think both players doing okay at this point, and KingkOng, worried about the counter quite heavily, is going for a spine crawler. So I'm going to, definitely be able to hold that off when it comes over. But Petraeus doesn't look like he's super into actually countering KingkOng. I don't think he's quite strong enough yet. Going for something else to help him out. Going for the Roach Warren, the Evo Chamber. Maybe another Evo Chamber here or something to completely block this off. But yeah, and I would not be surprised to see a third base coming down. There it goes. There's the third base. So yeah, very, very nice stuff. And KingkOng, who was expecting Petraeus to go around and counter him, is going to have to turn around and do something about this, because Petraeus did not turn around and counter him. He just went straight back and just sort of built himself up. Definitely got some good stuff going, and KingkOng is doing a good job as well. He's got the Roach Warren up, same time as Petraeus, but yeah, the third base is definitely all Petraeus right now. He's got that, it's going down, and KingkOng sent out a bit of forces, but didn't really do all that much. Oh, those poor workers. They need a couple of Lings in there to finish them off, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. And yes, KingkOng is getting that third base down now. A little bit later than Petraeus, of course. He's 3 workers ahead, but I don't think that's going to last very long once the third base comes down for Petraeus. He's going to shoot ahead in workers, or at least even it up. So yes, and there's basically just a ton of roaches coming out from both players at the moment. We've got 8 versus 5. So KingkOng pushing a little bit harder, but they're pretty much going for the same things at the moment, almost exactly the same things. And it's just got to come down to numbers, and the numbers will just come down to macro. And so far, Petraeus might be ahead, but there are 11 workers coming out for KingkOng, so he is... No, but yeah, Petraeus already went ahead. He's 49 over 41, and... Yeah, so there we go. KingkOng now making it up to 51. Both players know exactly what they need to be shooting for. And so I think the macro is pretty much going to be evened out. Yeah, look at that. 52 versus 52. The roaches are coming out. Do we have enough roaches for Petraeus, though, to be able to hold this off? Looks like the answer is yes. He does have enough roaches to deal with that. So very, very nice stuff. And KingkOng just getting the hell out of there, hoping to snipe a couple of these guys. I think we've actually... It looks like Petraeus have got roach speed before KingkOng has. This is devastating because, I mean, look at all these roaches going there. It's like 3 or 4 that have been killed so far because roach speed isn't up yet. And there we go. Roach speed finally... Oh, not quite. There it goes. It's finally up. And yeah, so 5 roaches. 6 roaches going down because Petraeus got Ling speed a little bit before KingkOng did, and that is not what you want to have happen in this game. So very, very nice stuff. What do we got going on? We got level 1 weapons, level 2 on the way, level 2 on the way for Petraeus as well, and level 1 armor, and tunneling claws and burrows. So he's planning some hijinks going around here. He's obviously feeling like he's in a good position. Yeah, he is. And yeah, both players, the macro is quite good. Petraeus actually pushing up a little bit further on the work account, just for the hell of it, but he also is building some spy crawlers just for an extra bit of defense. So, oh man, I think we've seen this before. Yep, the Overlord, the Overseer, crapping all over the Evo chamber and stopping that armor upgrade. So very, very nice play doing that. Of course, you do not want to get sniped by the Queen straight after you do that, so, you know, trying to control this a little bit, but it's moving away of its own accord, so that's fine. And, oh, crapping all over it again. Just crapping all over Petraeus' hopes and dreams. But he's going to be moving in, going to be taking out the rocks. KingkOng well aware of that. The Overlord cover is extremely good, of course, with all these players, and it looks like he is going to try and flank this. Petraeus sending a small group of roaches off here, and he could be in trouble here, actually. He is going to get the mother of all flanks on his roach forces, and there's a small group here. He runs out, and KingkOng is all over him. An incredible amount of losses here, but Petraeus does have burrow, and he does have tunneling claws, and he is going to get out of there. Meanwhile, a bunch of roaches making it into the main base. Very, very good stuff. They're going to take out a bunch of workers, and they cannot burrow because KingkOng does have it overseer there. So Petraeus with some nice plays, but how many roaches has he lost here? 14 versus only 7 for KingkOng. So Petraeus definitely losing a bunch of roaches, and he's only killed 6 workers. So not really getting bang for buck in terms of those plays, which he just recently did, but he is going to have armor in just a sec, and that means he can do a little bit more heads up play against Mr. KingkOng and actually try and survive. Here we go. Oh, the spine crawler moved. I thought there was a spine crawler here, but he must have moved it or something. Or maybe he got destroyed in a previous engagement. The mass roach army comes back to kill these guys, and meanwhile the 4th base gets taken out. So a beautiful play by KingkOng, doing the old 1-2 attack. Did a great job. The spine crawler was sitting out here, didn't really do much. But KingkOng did the damage he needed to do, I think, and now he's just going to back off, having denied that 4th base. And KingkOng really, really is going spectacularly nuts on the roach numbers. He's still a little bit behind Petraeus, but he's building a lot more. Look at that, 15 more coming out. Petraeus, though, does have level 1 armor, and KingkOng does not. So I think this is something that Petraeus may be able to come out ahead with. He's got a nice concave. He's gradually doing a bit more damage, and KingkOng not looking like he's in a good position. And these extra 9 roaches, 15 roaches are not going to matter once this army goes down, and go down it does. So KingkOng, I mean, that's how important level 1 armor is in a pitched battle like this, where the armies are so close. Just getting that extra Evo chamber up, getting that 1 armor going down at the same time of level 2 weapons, really does just make a hell of a difference to these sort of battles. So anyway, that's it. Game done, and it's down to an ace match. Petraeus has pushed it back to an ace match, and just one game left to see who will face Arthur in the grand final. So stay tuned for that. This has been Hairy Muppet. I hope you enjoyed this game. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I don't need to introduce myself. This is game number 3. This is the ace match between Petraeus and KingkOng. And we saw KingkOng do some great stuff in game 1 with an extraordinarily early bailing nest and a bunch of pressure off one base. And then in game 2, Petraeus came back. Beautiful roach battle between the two, but Petraeus won with the early armor upgrades that KingkOng did not get. So very, very good stuff. And now it's down to the ace match. It's a best of 3. We're on the 3rd game. And this is the last game for these two. And who will go to the grand final against Arthur? Who will go to the 3rd place matchup against Mr. Spear? It's all down to this game, so let's see exactly how it comes out. We've got very, very nice play for both players. Looks like they both went for hatch into pool by the queen timing anyway. And it's a bit of a bigger map, so a lot more room to sort of spread out and mess around. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what sort of crazy stuff they do get up to. Both players looking like, oh no, what's going on here? Petraeus has not got gas. He's not going for a link speed like he did last game. So the standard play, or I don't know if it is standard play, but the standard early Zerg ZvZ get your lings and banelings out sort of play is not going down for Petraeus. He is going to be pushing out more workers, I assume. Just getting he's getting a ton of queens, actually, a real ton of queens. So maybe he's looking for a very defensive macro-based build where he just pushes out a ton of workers early on and just uses queens to try and hold off any sort of early aggression, which definitely could be awesome. There's the tons of workers coming out. He's building 6 at a time, 7 at a time. So his income is going to skyrocket in this game, and KingkOng won't really have much of an idea that this is going on. He's not got any overlords coming in this top side or anything like that. So yeah, and here we go. There's the spine crawler coming up as well. There's the Evo chamber coming up. Maybe seeing a fast roach warren coming out of Petraeus. So just completely skipping the link play. There we go. There's the roach warren completely skipping the link play, going straight for roaches, getting the workers out nice and fast. Although KingkOng is getting a ton of workers out as well. He's really pushing nice and hard as well. He's getting his own spine crawler, so he's obviously realizing that maybe there's something going on here. And the lings coming in with the link speed, they do see the roach warren and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, obviously realizing that maybe something is going on here. Oh, is the link going to sneak on in? No, the queens do take it out. And very, very nice stuff. Man, I actually had to switch off a couple of my speakers. This speaker system I've got is like a Logitech and it's like 15 years old, so it definitely pulled its weight, but some of the speakers finally started spitting static, so I've disconnected a couple of them and I might just replace the entire system. I've already got a system waiting. I had the system waiting for like 3 or 4 years to replace this one, but it just kept going, so I just never replaced it. Here we go. It's going to be holding off the link speed coming in. Oh, the queen's not in a good position. Definitely not in a good position. They are going to be transfusing each other though. Oh, and the lings just getting the hell out of there just before one queen dies. It's so close, and I don't think this guy can actually afford to transfuse him. So right at the edge of dying right there, but still managed to keep it together. And Petraeus just getting a ton more link speed just about to come out. So he's starting to look like he's in a good position. And just, yeah, doing a great amount of stuff in this game. But it looks like KingkOng is decided to just say screw the roaches, all that. Let's just go for mutiling and see how that turns out. He's got a couple of bailings in there as well, so he does have that bailing nest. And looking like he wants to do some decent amount of pressure, but there's just so many lings for either player and a ton of roaches coming out for Petraeus. And if he moves fast, then he definitely can do something with these roaches, but he's got to move fast because the spire is almost down. And yeah, if a bunch of mutas comes out, it's going to be very, very bad news. for Mr. Petraeus, because he's not going to have anything to really do anything to him with. But then again, KingkOng only really building mutas off 2 base, so he's not going to be destroying everything anytime soon, but he should have enough to start taking the roaches out. And where are the roaches? There they go. They're chasing Bailings all over the map. They're not going towards KingkOng's base, so he's got more than enough time to get the mutas out and to get a bunch of good stuff going on. So yes, very, very good stuff. There we go. Roaches doing a pretty good job. The Lings just want to get out of there. I mean, their whole job has just been to hold up Petraeus. And there we go. The mutas are out on the map. Are we going to be seeing a Hydra Den coming out for Mr. Petraeus? Are we going to be seeing an Infestation Pit coming out for Mr. Petraeus? I would say Infestation Pit is probably going to be the way he'll go. Get some fungal growths out to try and deal with the mutas. Of course, spores are going to be excellent at dealing with the mutas when they come across the other side of the map. But for now, he's moving in. He's got a very, very decent amount of roaches. Transfuses on the spine crawlers do keep him alive for a little while. But eventually, these guys are going to go down. I don't think KingkOng has burrow, so he's not going to be able to save these workers for too much time. And the roaches are just moving on in, doing a pretty good job, but they are slowly getting taken out by the mutas. And yeah, these guys sort of been forgotten. They're just attacking whatever. A bunch more coming in though. The queen is going to go down. The mutas are getting stronger and stronger in terms of taking stuff out, but the worker count being lost for KingkOng is starting to ramp up a little bit. Just a little bit though, not all that high. He's only lost 7 so far, and Petraeus losing a ton of roaches. I don't think he can afford to send any more roaches over there. He needs to have something else going on in order to save himself, but he's bought himself enough time to get some spores, although this spore, I don't know why that's placed there. That definitely could be in a better location. He needs one over there because this area is just so wide open, and that's the first spot they're going to go to. So I don't know what the hell Petraeus was thinking building the spore over there, but yeah. So here we go. A bunch of these guys are going to go down. The mutas coming across to here, sniping an overseer, and we haven't seen any real anti-air tech coming out from Petraeus as of yet. He's building a ton more queens, which is a nice interim measure, but you really need something that's good against mutas in the long term. Like, you need hydras, you need infestors, you need mutas of your own. You need something like that. Has he got tech buildings for any of those? Does not look like it. So for now, he's just going to be, I don't know, building roaches by the looks of it. He's building roaches, he's sending them across the map. He's going to be able to hold here defensively. He's going to be okay for a while, but the mutas are getting very, very twitchy out there, actually attacking the queens. The queens fall back to the spore crawler, and they are going to start to do a bit of damage to the mutas. Meanwhile, the roaches getting over there. More mutas coming out, and they are going to be slowly taking down the roaches, but the roaches are definitely going to be taking out the spine crawler here, the spire. Anyway, they sniped that out, and now there are only a few mutas back here. 4 more coming out, but the main army coming back, and the roaches are going to go down. But of course, Petraeus can just keep doing this, and he may somewhat force KingkOng to be defensive, just for the point that he's just keep sending roaches out there, and KingkOng has to keep moving his main army back to defend against it. But I don't know. I don't know if he could actually do this, actually just keep moving out with roaches and actually start taking stuff out while doing a perfect defensive play back at his own base to stop the mutas from just completely annihilating him. I'm not sure if he can do it. There are Lings here as well, and Lings are definitely going to be awesome. The mutas taking out the spore crawler, taking out this spore crawler, and suddenly this base is completely open. The roaches coming back to deal with the Lings, but what is there to deal with the mutas? There are a bunch of queens, and that is definitely good, and a whole bunch of transfusing queens going up against a whole bunch of mutas. KingkOng going nuts here, trying to take out all of these queens, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. The queens are all falling, and there is no queens left, so the mutas pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever they want. However, a bunch of spores have been set up here, so maybe they will hold on for a little while, but he has to move back now. There's just so many roaches coming on back, a massive, massive amount of roaches. The Lings are not going to be able to stop them. And what else can happen here? I'm not sure. The mutas eventually will come back and they'll try and take out all these roaches. But can a critical amount of damage be done before that? I'm really, really not sure. Workers are being taken out slowly but surely, but then again, so are the roaches. The expansion is going to go down here, and more roaches are just coming in. So yeah, I suppose Petraeus is just sort of shoring up his bases at the moment, getting some macro going. These guys going nuts. How many workers do we have? 14 under 48, so that is not a lot of workers. And the roaches, of course, they don't have to worry about military units, they just have to worry about workers, and they are killing a ton of them. And KingkOng has given the GG, just whittled down to 11 workers under 48, and his muters, while they were doing a lot of good job against the Queen, they were not going to come back and rip this base up anytime soon. There were too many spore crawlers, and the Queens were going to be macroed up really, really fast. I mean, 3 bases building Queens, that's going to be a lot of Queens. And in fact, he's already got 4 Queens out there, even after he lost all the rest of his Queens. So yeah, KingkOng knew he wasn't going to take it out, and he knew that his macro wasn't good enough to last for the rest of the game, so had to give the GG. And I gotta say, it's an interesting way that Petraeus won this game. Just persisted with the roaches and just kept doing the damage, and he was taking so much damage from the muters just kept killing the roaches over and over again. But roaches are a lot cheaper than muters, and he just built a crap load of them and kept streaming them across the map, and that was it. What I really would have liked to have seen was just a spine wall from KingkOng, just an absolute spine crawler wall to just completely shut down the roaches and just not let them in. But I suppose it would have been hard to do that as building the muters at the same time, because it just takes up so much minerals. But anyway, that's it, and Petraeus has come back in this series, taken it out 2-1, and will be moving on to the grand final to face off against Arthur. Meanwhile, KingkOng will be moving on to face off against Spear in the 3rd place round. So look forward to that. I do hope you enjoyed these games, and I will catch you guys in a few days for the grand final. So stay tuned for that. This has been Harry Muppet.